TUF 27, episode 8. Suman, man, this is the episode that they reveal everything. A lot of people knew that something was wrong with your knee. And now everything is clear. What happened? The doctors came in. They did an MRI on your knee. You found out that your ACL was torn. Was it completely torn when you went to the doctors afterwards?
It was completely torn.
No.
So they said that when they looked at my knee, when the commission guy had looked at my knee before I'd even gotten an MRI, he said your ACL is definitely, there's some tear in there because of the way he felt my knee move. And then I was like, I didn't think that it would be my ACL. I thought it was something bad, and I knew it was something worse than like a meniscus tear because I've done that before. But I didn't think it was that bad. And then when the doctor looked at it, when the doctor looked at it, first thing they said was, yep, there are traces of it. We'll see how bad it is. It was only until after I found out that it was a complete tear. I've got a photo of it. And it was a complete rupture, is what they've written down. But it was a complete rupture. So, I didn't have an ACL.
Well, you were very emotional, after you found out the news. Of course, it would be emotional because you went through so much shit up to that point. Like you said last week, going through that dieting and, that mentally that's, draining on you. And then your leg is hurt, but you don't know why, what's wrong with it exactly. And then you find out and you're off the show because you had a chance to actually get back on the show because there was 2 spots or open, actually 1 spot at featherweight open, right? So there was a possibility. So that's probably running through your mind also. And then you hear this news and it's just like it's over basically, right? You're out of the competition. So tell me what was going through your mind when the doctor told you like it's over?
Well, going into that meeting with the doctor, I knew that I have a possibility, if everything is okay, to be back into the competition. I had strong word, and Dana White was real positive towards me as well. And I was real confident of getting back into the semifinals, and that's all. I was waiting for how many days from right after my fight was finished, and they told me that I have to go get a clearance. And the next day when I found out that Ricky could possibly out, even with Ricky not being out, I was already saying to the coaches that I wanted the 155 spot. They don't show it in the season, but I did ask for that. And I did ask the producers. I did try and talk to them and everything about that. So I was up for that. And then coming to listen to the doctor, I was trying to stay as positive as I could, thinking, it's not going to be that bad. It's not going to be that bad. They'll let me fight with a meniscus tear. They'll let me fight with an MCL tear. I knew that the only thing that would stop them from letting me fight was an ACL tear. And then when I was speaking to the doctor, he was kind of talking me through some things. The scene obviously went for longer than what you guys seen, but he was talking me through my knee and everything. And then the way he made it sound, it sounded pretty positive. And I was like, okay, I don't think it's going to be that bad. And then out of nowhere, he goes, and yeah, we got bad news. Your ACL is torn. At that moment, I don't remember. I just remember just thinking that the world is ending. You know what I mean? I just had that moment in my head that that everything was going to, like everything that I'd worked towards, everything that I'd done was gone, I knew I had one leg going in, but there's not much you can do, I didn't know what to feel at that time, I'd been going through that for the last 2-3 weeks, that pain in my knee. I'd kind of tried to accept it. I tried to say, be positive throughout any situation, no matter what it is, blah, blah, blah. But then hearing that my ACL is actually torn, it was far worse than the pain. The pain in my leg wasn't that bad. It was just the pain on the inside that was a bit worse.
Was it the possibility, a high possibility of you redeeming yourself from the performance that you had in your first fight that kind of made the news tougher to swallow?
Yeah, because like I knew that I went in there and I did what I could. Ricky beat me. He bested me. I've got no excuses. My knee is no excuse. I'm sure he had his own shit to deal with. You know, but I felt like I had a strong enough performance. It was a competitive enough fight for everyone to see that I could make a run in that stuff. So I felt like I did kind of put myself in a position to be brought back, and to have that taken away just kind of sucked because, you know, I did try, and you know, just yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know, you had the surgery, and how has the rehab and everything been going?
Perfect. Everyone knows me. I always want to stay around my gym, and what's important, and what someone told me when I think it might have been Volante. He told me that the most important thing is, even if I'm injured, just stay in routine. You know, just keep going to the gym, and that will keep my mind fresh. So the same day that I had surgery, I think I had surgery. Like I had a complete knee reconstruction. It was a 6-hour surgery or a 5-hour surgery, I think it took. That you're meant to stay in hospital overnight. So I got my surgery at 9 a.m. in the morning. At 4:30 or 5 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock. Yeah, I think by 6 o'clock I was at my gym. I had my brace on. I had my legs wrapped up. I was high on endone, and you know, I still went to. I got an Uber from the hospital straight to my gym, and I sat there on the mats and I was just still talking. And then from that day, every day after that, I was still in my gym every day. I was still coaching, even with the leg brace on and everything. I was sticking to my routine. I wasn't meant to fly. They told me I'm not meant to fly for like 2 or 3 weeks because of my knee. 4 days later, we had Hex, and that's when Darwin Sagret had fought the guy from Korean top team. And I remember this was 4 days after surgery. I'm not meant to even be out of bed. I should maybe even still be in hospital. When Darwin had won, I remember I was jumping up on my leg, and I threw my crutches aside and got into that cage, and it was crazy. But as much as I can, I've tried to live my life normal, and stick to my routine. My rehab has been going really well. I've got like the best doctors, and I've got the best physio and everything working on me. You know, the UFC, Pilgrim, and the crew there have financially helped with everything. I haven't had to pull a dollar out from my own pocket to do anything for my physio, for my rehab. Like just that's what's made it real easy. These things are super expensive, and I only realize that now. But I remember I was at the hospital at like 8 a.m. in the morning, and they said that the money hadn't gone through for the surgery. Because obviously a lot of paperwork to and from America and stuff like that, they're taking care of it. I called up Gary DeFranco at like 8 a.m. in the morning in Sydney. I don't even know what time that is in Vegas. I called up Gary at 8 a.m. in the morning, and within like 20 minutes, they had all the money in the account for the hospital and everything. You know, and these are some of the perks that like not many fighters or not many people will talk about. I've been helped through everything. And even at the dinner, Dana White knew I was going to get surgery, and Dana White said to me, he goes, "Don't worry about a thing. Everything is covered. Everything is taken care of. And you know, you've got our support." And I'm like, yeah, that makes it easier. That keeps me motivated to keep rehabbing and doing through all my stuff. I was meant to not do anything for 5 months. It's now been 11 weeks. I'm already boxing. I'm already doing weights. I'm already doing deadlifts. I'm already doing squats. I'm already working on my knee. I'm far ahead of my schedule. They said to me that on average, it takes about 9 to 12 months for an ACL rehabilitation. They said a high level like athlete who works a lot will be better in 7 to 9 months. I'm looking to be back into the cage at 7 months.
So by the end of the year, maybe.
Yeah, I will be back in the cage by the end of the year.
All right. So you're looking towards maybe in the December around that time to get back.
I should be. My physio thinks that I'd be ready around November to fight. So him saying November, I said, okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna just say to myself, December. And if I can get ready by November, that's even better. But I'll be ready by December to fight again.
Isn't the TUF 28
finale
in December?
Yeah, it is. The heavyweights and the female thing. So who knows? I think that's December 27. But I don't know. I don't know dates and stuff.
You never know. You never know what can happen. Maybe they'll put together some.
They've done it before.
I would like to see you take on Delani. That would be something to be.
Nobody knows I'd whoop that ass. Yeah, that'd be cool. Like I said, like we were talking about it even after the show. Oh, like when some of us were eliminated and stuff, and some of the guys would talk about the finale and stuff. I told all those guys I'd be prepared to fight any of them in the finale, or I'm sure some of those guys will fight in the UFC, like against each other, not so much in the finale. These guys will cross paths again. We'll all cross paths again. You never know. You might see me and Ricky still rematch.
Yeah, you never know what's gonna happen in the future. The show's not even over yet.
I think we had a fun. Me and Ricky had a pretty fun fight this season.
Yeah. Now, so everything seems like it's going good. You have a timeline of when you want to be back, and that's great, man. It's like you can move forward and you don't have to really dwell on what's happened. Now, the big question is, would you go back to the house? If they had like a return, like a redemption season, would you go back to that?
No chance. No chance. I'll tell you, like that house was like, it's a blessing. Like it's great. And it is something that if I never did it before, I would definitely want to experience. And I'm happy I experienced it, but I would never want to live with those 15 men again. I don't want to live with 15 other men ever again. Like, man, you don't see half the shit. Those people are so messy. I just can't deal with it. I was always dealing with anxiety due to dishes. And, like, I'm not, like, a super clean person. Yeah, but, like, when I'm around other people and stuff, or I just try and keep my own space tidy so no one says anything, Like, if your dishes are clean, no one can say anything. So I was always like that. But some of the other guys weren't.
Yeah, they probably don't give a shit.
It was always, like, Bryce yelling at everyone for being dirty or something like that. That's why I liked Bryce.
Well, now let's get into the fight for this episode 8. It was Tyler Diamond versus Dulani Perry. Now, a lot of people focus on Dulani talking shit, but both these guys talk shit. It's just different ways.
That's right. Dulani has his way of promoting himself, and Tyler does too. Tyler is just as
confident as Dulani.
Say confident. I wouldn't say cocky or arrogant. I'll say he was just as confident as Dulani. But obviously, I think that Tyler's confidence was a bit more real. Dulani's was a bit more played up. But yeah, these guys, they approach the fight how they need to approach a fight.
Well, Tyler, he's very confident. Dulani's very confident. Tyler's a wrestler with, if we saw in the fight, he's a wrestler with very vicious ground and pound. And then Dulani is a fighter that's a striker who says that he has some jiu-jitsu skills, which that didn't come out in the fight at all because he laid on his back. Now, in round 1, it was like, if there's a 10-7 round, that was a 10-7 round.
10-7 round.
No?
That was 10-8.
10-8?
But a 10-7?
Like me, wow. I think if you knock them down, I think if you knock down the fighter, I think that's a 10-8 round, to be honest with you. And then the other fighter didn't do anything?
There's so much that can happen in a round that, like, one knockdown can't necessarily mean a 10-8, because sometimes it could be a slip, could be whatever. But that was a 10-8 round, because a 10-8 round is complete domination, I think a 10-7 round is when you've gotten to the point 2 or more times where the referee is about to step in and stop the fight. Even though Dulani was getting hit, kind of from his guard or his half guard, in the first round he never got constantly pounded on, so where the referee was about to step in and stop the fight. That's the only reason I don't call it a 10-7. It was just complete domination. I was like 10-8. Delaney. The problem for Delaney was, look, I don't know where he had trained before, but he had a real like gi style of jiu-jitsu, which doesn't work for MMA. He does traditional jiu-jitsu and he wears his gi, which is well and good, but in MMA you need to be cage aware. You need to more than anything know how to more than how to play guard or how to play half guard. You need to know how to get up, and that's the difference of MMA. And I think that Delaney was just lacking that. You can see from that first thing he's skilled. Like he's got some kicks and stuff that can really keep you away. I just think that he doesn't know how to mix it up yet, and I think that he's just not as confident in himself to stay standing. You know, you've seen him pull guard, and then when he's seen Gladi, you know, he pulled guard in the first round.
Well, he went for the guillotine.
He didn't have a guillotine on.
I know what I'm saying.
Yeah, he came back and he came into the back room and he's like, "Yeah, I thought I had that guillotine." And like Jay looked at him like, "What guillotine are you talking about? You can't get a guillotine with both arms." You know, but yeah, I think he just lacked there, and I think he needed some no-gi training. And if you guys have him on Instagram, follow him at FightGod. He's over and he's doing some work with the Team Alpha Male, so he's learning from his losses.
Well, yeah, that like Tyler, he showed that, man. He is legit. He is. There's a justification for him being picked number one, but maybe that's just Delaney Perry not being as good as he promoted himself to be. You never, you don't know until these guys fight again, right? Yeah. And you'll see them in the future. Like I liked how they promoted themselves. I liked how that Delaney did what he did. Because he did what he had to do. That's his thing. You know what I mean? Like people could say it's fake and the
hate on the man as much as you want. We're still watching him. He still made it onto the show. Good on. He must have done something right.
And he tells you he's an entertainer. Like he's looking to get into movies. He never says once that he's looking to become a champion.
No, I'm telling you now, that guy deserves to have his own MTV. Like he should be like a talk host on like an MTV show or something. He's hilarious. He's really, really intelligent. If you see him speak on Tough Talk with Michael Bisping and Karen Bryant after the episode, he's actually a super intelligent guy. But he's not a fighter.
My only worry for him is like, in America, you can't be flashing all that cash and do that. And you end up getting shot, getting robbed, you know what I mean? Like, America's a different story.
Nah, 6ix9ine's running rampant on all of you guys. No one's doing shit to 6ix9ine. Delaney is like the 6ix9ine of the MMA world.
He is. He is the 6ix9ine of the MMA world. You're right.
Hey, but every world needs one.
Exactly. Hey, I liked what Perry did. And I like what Tyler did. They had their own confidence. They had their own way of promoting themselves. And they had different goals on the show. And you can't hate on it. You can't hate on one person have a certain goal while they're on the show and another person have a different goal. Everybody's path is different. You know what I mean? Yeah. And Delaney and Tyler's paths are different. But
100%. And you got to look at the age. Well, Delaney's an older guy. Delaney's like 32, 33 years old. He had his birthday in that house, which we celebrated. But like he's an older guy. He's using this platform to get himself somewhere else, and that's fine as well. Like you see people use the MMA platform to get themselves into the WWE. Sometimes that's what they really want to get. Sometimes you got to do some stuff like that. If Delaney's willing to go and take a beating to get somewhere, I praise the guy more because at least he's got the balls to jump in there. You know. Doesn't matter if he ass beat or not. He's still taking a chance to go on. And if he knows he's not that good and he puts himself in front of millions and millions of viewers, for other people's entertainment, why not? Why should we bag the guy? People are bagging on CM Punk right now. Why? We're still wanting to watch him fight. Who cares?
Yeah, you can't bag on Perry and then talk about you want to see CM Punk fight. That's just fucking retarded.
That's right.
Now, well, what do you think about the submission though? Like, I don't know if that submission was on all the way. You know, like the coaches were saying, "Oh, that submission was tight." Like DC said that.
Even time that submission was barely on.
Yeah.
Even I think that Delani was caught in a submission, and then he kind of rolled, and he was already ready to tap. And then he was already he looked like he was kind of rolling out of the submission.
He didn't even have the legs locked in.
Yeah, that's right. And then he tapped. But what I think it was just he wanted his way out. You know, and like he said, he admitted it. He said he saw blood, and after that, he didn't know what to think. And those are the realities of fighting. You know, sometimes some people have never seen themselves bleed. Some people have never seen themselves with a welt or a mark on their face. Some people have never been hit so hard they don't know if their face has exploded or not. That's when you'll realize how someone reacts. You know, that's how you'll see who a real fighter is. They get hit and they keep coming forward and they want to keep fighting no matter the beating that they take. Not the beating that they're scared to take, and then they end up finding a way to quit, finding a way out of the fight. You know, some fighters will fight from every position, and then some fighters will tap easily in other positions because they panic. You know, it's up to you. Like, it's up to you who you want to be. It's your path. You know, I know my path. That's Delaney's path, or other fighters have their own path. But you gotta be true to yourself at the end of the day.
You're right. Like getting hit, getting cut, being bruised up, feeling like your head rattle. You know, like especially like it. You know, like I've being younger. I've been in fights, and your adrenaline's going. You get hit, you don't feel it as much, and then I've been hit in sparring where your adrenaline is not going, and that is even worse.
Yeah,
that's worse. Yeah. Like you feel like I've been hit in the jaw in sparring, and I felt like there's blood dripping down the inside of my jaw, and there is no blood dripping. It's like you just the feeling like it's just like a terrible feeling. I don't know, man. Like I guess everybody reacts differently. It's not. That's right. Feeling. It's not a good feeling.
That's right, and like I think that adrenaline helps you. I think that excitement helps you. Now, someone like Delani, I don't know what is going on through his head. Like, why? Because I could tell that he's probably nervous. I think everyone's nervous when they fight. But how does his nerves translate into what he's doing when he gets touched? Like I know I'm telling you, a lot of guys are great fighters. And when they go into fights, they're like, I'm not nervous. And I'm like, this guy's going to run through them. And they're real calm and they feel nothing. But then the moment they step into that fight and they fall on the back foot and they get hit, they shit themselves. Why? Because they're so calm. They try and make themselves so calm, so zen, that they forget they're in a fight. And at the end of the day, that is exactly what this is. This is fighting. And if you're not a true fighter at heart, you always get found out.
Seriously, like, it kind of reminds me of your fight at Rebel when you had that armbar. Like, you were in that armbar deep.
Yeah.
That deep armbar. Like, was your arm fucked up after that?
My arm's still fucked up. My arm is still fucked up. For everyone's information, my arm is still fucked up. So when I got hit with that armbar, I tore like a tendon in my elbow, and it caused like bursitis. I don't know if you know what that is, but like I had like massive swelling in my elbow. And if you've seen Nick Diaz's elbow when he was draining it,
no, I haven't seen that.
Well, he had one, and I don't know if he had like staph or something on it as well, but he was draining his elbow. And I literally had to do the same thing because there was blood caught up all in my elbow and there was so much fluid. I had to stick a needle in there and like drain like 20 mils of blood out. I got my brother to do it.
Hey, if you're watching this, you need to go back and try to find a video of Suman fucking fighting that arm bar. It's fucking deep. You see his face, your face, you could tell. That shit wasn't comfortable at all, man. Do you think that moment in your fight career, did that kind of teach you something? Did that change you in a way?
100%. I knew like I don't tap easy. Like when I'm in training, like I don't tap easy. If I get submitted, I get submitted. And I do get submitted, but I don't like to give up an easy tap ever. If someone gets me, they get me. When he got me in the armbar, I was just willing to let it break. I was willing to let it snap. And on the same event, on the exact same event, my brother fought, and he fought Hong Gang Yao, who was like big in China over there when they fought a bantamweight, and my brother finished him in the second round with the heel hook. But before that, my brother actually got put in an armbar as well. And exact same thing. His arm was popping and moving just as bad as mine. He didn't tap, didn't let go, and that's just, you learn things about yourself over your career. And that was one of like the moments that I learned a lot about myself, is that I am like, you know, a lot of people like, I'm willing to go to sleep. I'm willing to let it break. I'm willing to do this. That's all well and good. But what happens when you are in that position? When you get put in a choke, are you willing to get put to sleep? You know, like in efforts to get out, are you willing to let it break and hopefully get out and continue your fight? I've been put in those positions many times, you know, and I've been put in positions where you can quit. A lot of other people have quit, and I've never quit, and I never will quit. If someone goes into a fight in my next fight and they get my opposite heel, or they get this heel, and they try and tear my ACL again, they can tear my ACL again. But if they do, I'll end up putting them in hospital in the same exchange.
Yeah, man. I think a lot of people that watch the sport of MMA, they need to go and take some classes, and before they start talking too much shit about like fighters and what they're doing in the cage, because they need to realize the positions that these fighters are in. And you could get into those positions when you're in a class, when you're in a Muay Thai class, or you're in a jiu-jitsu class. You can get into these positions. You know, myself, I've been in these positions. I've been in a position where I'm sparring this guy, and I'm in the arm bar, and I'm like, I could get out of this arm bar, and next thing you know, my arm is like, pop, 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 like, and then I tap, and I'm like, oh shit. And I've been in triangles with in sparring, and these both times are against fighters, but I don't know that they're MMA fighters. I'm just in class with them, sparring with them. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm in a triangle, and I'm like, oh, I could get out of this triangle, and then all of a sudden, I'm like the walls are closing in on me and shit. Like I could feel it, like in the triangle, and then I tapped right before I went to sleep, and then next thing you know, my fucking eye. Fucking the blood vessels in my eye pop and shit like that. I think people need to go and feel this. They need to, understand this.
They don't even need to do MMA. People just need to come down, do a jiu-jitsu class, and see how close to death you could actually come. Yeah. See how easily you could snap something. Like we had a first timer come into our gym last night, for instance, and they wanted to try. We have like an all levels MMA class at Australian Top Team. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:30, we have an all levels MMA class, and me and my brother teach the class. But in this class, we have a lot of our pro fighters do it as well. Why? Because the fundamental things that you learn in all levels MMA is usually the things that are going to help you through it. Now, we had a guy come in, and he would have been, I think, like maybe 80, 85 kilos, so like 185 pounds. And he came into class. First day he'd ever done anything. I think he might have played soccer or something before. But yeah, he came into our class, was loving it. And then at the end of it, I'm like, the guys are going to do some grappling on the wall, so they're going to do some takedowns and stuff like that. And I told him to sit out the first round, and he was really, really keen to jump into this first round. I was like, nah, watch how it is first. It's your first day. Watch it, and then if you feel confident after that, you can jump in. All right. So after that, he jumped in, put him on the wall, and I put him with a girl, and he looked at the girl, and he's like, oh, don't really. And this is like probably a 55-kilo girl, so 122 pounds or something. And I'm like, oh, just go with her. And he's like, oh, I don't really want to hurt her. I'm like, trust me, you don't need to worry about her. You can do whatever you want. And then he's like, all right then. And he went to like get her in like a headlock, like a old school like bulldog choke headlock style thing on the wall. And she like picked him up by his hips and just dumped him on the floor, caught his back and started like choking him out immediately. She's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, but like it just shows what a 55-kilo female could do to someone with a 30-plus weight advantage. Does it always work like that? No. Some people are super explosive. Some people are knowledge. And again, this is a beginner that doesn't know anything against someone who's a bit more experienced. But you see how weight and gender and everything can go out of it. Now, if a woman can put you to sleep, imagine what you can do with a year's effort of jiu-jitsu or 2 years effort of jiu-jitsu. Like it just gives you a lot of confidence to know who you are as a person and what you can do as a person as well.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of dudes, even guys with backgrounds, you know, like even myself, I've been in jiu-jitsu class and a guy comes in with a judo background, like 10 years of judo and shit, right?
Yeah.
And then he comes in and he thinks he could just fucking fuck everybody up and take them down. And then he gets choked out. I've done it many times with guys that come in and, you know, and I've been training jiu-jitsu for a few years. And even a 6 months of jiu-jitsu will change your fucking life.
Yeah, man. Just and you know what the most important time in your jiu-jitsu career is? The first 6 months. What you take in those first 6 months will be the things that stay with you for years as you're doing it. Like the techniques that I learned on my first few lessons, like a basic armbar or triangle, are the things that I would use the most.
My first 6 months, I went to this hardcore jiu-jitsu school where all the guys, it was in the morning, so all the guys that would come to the class, they were all like blue belts, purple belts, brown belts, and then I would spar all of them, and I'm the only white belt at that time, and I would get fucked up. But the thing is, I kept going. Like a lot of the guys that were coming in the mornings, they would come for like a few days, and then they would never come back because it was just so hardcore. But I just kept going and going, and that changed everything because my defense became so much better, and then my offense came along after a while. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think
persistence is the key to when you're training. You've got to find, like a lot of people nowadays find gyms that might physically push them sometimes, but won't mentally push them. Why? Because mentally they think if we push them too much, they'll get exhausted and they won't pay and they won't come back and they won't do this and they won't do that. The difference is, you know, you got to find a gym that mentally and physically pushes you, and pushes you to your limits. Like everyone wants to learn a hobby, and it's fine to want to train to lose weight or anything. But when you're doing that, you might as well do it right. You know, a lot of people nowadays are like, oh, I'm just going to do a box fit class and get my workout, which is fine. But you could do the exact same thing, doing a proper boxing class, learning your drills and getting a sweat up. It comes down to how hard you train.
Yeah, you got to benefit somehow. Now, going back to the show, I love talking about this, but go back to the show. You got the picks, right? The coaches went into the room with Dana White, and they're deciding on who they want to, you know, bring back because Luis and Ricky, they're out of the show because they're injured. Now they picked, of course, Stipe picks Gunther. And I thought that was Stipe was saying like, oh, it's not because he's my, the guys from my gym, but is it? Come on, let's be honest. Like Gunther, he didn't show anything, and it's not like, it's like, come on, I would rather see a guy that went in there and went to war than a guy that just went in there and kind of fell into a submission and didn't really show anything to anybody, right? And I don't know, like, I just think it was just too much favoritism right there. And I believe that if you're going to have a show and the coach is going to be there, I think nobody from your team should be on that fucking show. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah. Look, when we came into the house, we didn't know a thing about Gunther. All we knew was that he was Stipe's like training partner or someone from his gym. When the semifinals were getting picked, I knew that Gunther was going to get picked. But I think based off fight, everyone was like, oh, Jose went through a wall. Jose should have got it. Jose survived like a 2-round war, and he probably should have got it based off his fight. But Stipe's trying to say it's based off training, and Gunther did train hard. Like I can never say if someone deserves a spot over someone else anymore because I was kind of in that same position. But I think that Jose, based off his fight, and that's what matters, it shouldn't really be based off where you're from or based off anything but how you perform as a fighter. It's about who they think can advance into the tournament. And in my opinion, Jose had more of a chance to advance in the tournament than Gunther did. I think that Jose versus Mike would have been a far more interesting fight.
How did people react to Gunther getting the spot? Were they pissed?
Yeah. In the back, there was a lot of emotion. Jose was in tears. You know, and the reason he was in tears was because he felt like he left it all out there. Again, I can't really speak too much on his behalf, but he felt like he had left it all out there, and he was filthy at the fact that he felt Stipe had picked his boy over him based off the gym. The coaches tried to remind Jose that wasn't the case, and I think a few people tried to settle him by saying, you know, you'll probably fight in the finale and stuff like that. But I don't think anything eased the pain because when we were there, everyone just wanted to fight. You know, everyone just wanted to fight. I just wanted to fight. Jose just wanted to fight. Me and Jose were in that same boat together.
But you could make promises about probably you're gonna fight in the finale, and
no one, unless you hear it from Dana White, it doesn't mean anything. And another thing is, even if you do hear it from Dana White, a lot of things, like if you say something 4 weeks ago, the next week something could have changed. Nothing is certain. So if someone said to me, "You're going to fight in the finale," until I have a contract, until my poster is up, I don't believe in nothing.
Exactly, man. You have to have a contract, man. You have to sign the dotted line.
And that's why when I was ruled out, I was heartbroken. Yeah, when I was ruled out, I was heartbroken. But then when it came down to the picks, and I knew my name couldn't get picked, I wasn't upset or angry at the fact that anyone that did get chosen, because I can't be angry at someone that's chasing the same dream as me. I was heartbroken for myself, and I don't think that Jose was upset with himself or was upset at Gunther either. I think he was just upset about the situation that he felt like he was put in.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think he's. Yeah, I think Jose is smart enough to understand that everybody's going for the same thing, and if Gunther got the pick, it's not his choice to get picked because everybody wants to be picked, right?
That's right.
Coaches.
Gunther himself did go to Dana White and did make his little proposal with his funny hat. But yeah, you know, he did what he had to do, and good on him. You'll see another performance out of him.
Well, I think a lot of people, when they see the Triziano and versus Gunther fight that they chose, I think Mike, he's a big favorite going into that fight, man. A big favorite going into that fight. Where Mike, I think he has his game is all around. But what's funny about it is Gunther, he got choked out so fast that you don't even know what the fuck is going on with him, man. Like, you don't even know how he's going to react this time.
He kept saying, "Oh, I just want to feel like I got into a fight." So hopefully this time he gets himself into a fight.
Definitely. Now, the other fight that they announced was Katona versus Bryce Mitchell. I think this is the best matchup. Like, evenly. Yep. This is the best matchup. It's going to be crazy, this fight, because both these guys can come and finish the fight pretty quickly.
I was split on who I think could win that fight the whole season. And, like, the closer we got to that fight, it was like, I don't know who's going to win. Both great grapplers. Both can throw hands. Both can wrestle. You know, and even guys that were training with them, because they were in the same training room, everyone else always said the same thing. They didn't know who was going to win the fight.
Now, the other one is the weird fight is Zuniga, the guy that nobody knows what he's saying, versus Giannetti. Huge height difference, reach difference. This is kind of a toss-up because you don't even know what Zuniga can do. And Giannetti, you don't really know what he can do either because he just choked out Gunther in like 10 seconds. So it's odd matchup.
Like a young Nate Diaz. He's got some skills, and Alan is tough as fuck. So, you know, you've seen how emotional he was not to fight. So imagine what happens when he gets the opportunity to fight.
For sure. And then the last one is Tyler Diamond versus Jay. I don't know. I think Tyler Diamond is the favorite in this fight, just off the performance that he had against Dulani. I don't know. Jay is kind of a toss-up. You don't know what's going to happen, or you don't know how he's going to show up when he comes and takes on Tyler, because Tyler's performance, I think that everybody watched it and said, "Hey, man, this guy, he's legit." You know, it could feed into the mental aspect of Jay too, even though Jay might be confident in himself.
The one thing about Jay is he's a survivor. You know, he's been to war and everything. There's nothing you can do to phase that man. If he lacks skills wise, or like in the wrestling or in striking or anything, he makes up for it in heart. If you put any fighter in there that's just got heart, then you're always going to make for an exciting fight. So it's going to be a good one.
All right, before we go, let's talk about UFC 225, because the Australian invasion is happening in Chicago this weekend. Let's talk about the fights. Robert Whittaker versus Yoel Romero. You know, you've heard that Yoel Romero did not do open workouts because something is wrong with his eyes, which is kind of funny. I don't understand what's going on with that. I believe that Yoel Romero is going to beat Robert Whittaker, in my opinion. You know, like, this is me from a neutral standpoint. Robert Whittaker, of course, he's proven everybody wrong every single time, but I feel that this time that Yoel Romero, he's going to come and he's going to take out Whittaker. A lot of people might not like it, but what do you think?
But what has Yoel shown you to say that he's going to take out Whittaker? He knocked out Luke Rockhold, which Michael Bisping did too. And before he knocked him out, he didn't look great before he knocked him out. Robert is one of the guys that you just can't ever count out.
Exactly. I understand what you're saying, but I just feel that...
Look, and I get what you're saying too. I can't imagine you're losing to the same person twice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I've seen Rob fight since his first pro fight in Australia. You know, and one thing I can guarantee you about Rob is every fight he has ever had, he always comes back better. If you beat Yoel like that last time, he's gonna be better prepared for it this time.
I just have a feeling that he's going to be winning the fight, but somehow Yoel's just gonna come like he always does, and it's just gonna catch him with something. Yeah, it's that home run shot, you know? And I think that this time it could possibly happen with this fight. But if I was a betting man, I would take Robert Whittaker, because like you just mentioned, that he always comes back stronger. But he's been out for a while though. And we don't know what's going to happen with that thing that he had with the stomach and all that stuff.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we will. Now, what about Megan Anderson? She hasn't been fighting either.
She's got a hard fight. She's got a hard fight. I think she's super good, and I think it's super good that she's like a proper size featherweight against Holly Holm, and I think that will make a difference. I think she's super long, which makes it hard for Holly Holm to use her distance as much. But I think that Holly's a little bit quicker. But I feel like when it comes to power in the hands and stuff like that, I think Megan can really put it on her. I don't know how the layoff is going to do so much for Anderson. Holly has obviously been fighting, but not looking as good since USADA has come in. You know, that's a real toss-up. I'm going for Anderson because she's an Australian, and I know how hard she's been working, and I know she's with Krause, and I know how much work he really puts in on her, and I know the improvements that she's made. I hope that she wins. I just think that Holly is a bad stylistic fight because I don't feel like she fights. I feel like she plays.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, because I think this could be just a boring ass fight, to be honest with you.
Unless Anderson just fucking fights like me against Ricky and just says fuck the kicks and just keeps walking straight.
But she could possibly do that.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see if she can get in, pass those kicks and pass that teep, land her strikes. And I think if she does get her into that clinch against the fence, I think that's where her success will come. Putting her up against cage, using her weight, using her size, and using that clinch to her advantage. Because she's got some great knees.
Yeah, I see that this fight is going to be a decision. If Holly Holmes wins. If Holly Holmes wins, it's going to be a decision. She's going to be on her bike, going backwards and kind of like kicking from distance. But if Megan Anderson goes in there and implements a more aggressive style and doesn't get clipped coming in, she could just beat and finish. I feel that she can finish Holly Holm.
Yeah, if she can get in on her.
Yeah. But I'm taking Holly Holm with the decision. I think Holly Holm is just dancing around like she does.
You're just an American.
I'm not American, man.
You're an American.
But hey, I'm going to go with Tai Tuivasa, though. I think Tai Tuivasa is the next.
Tai is going to sleep Arlovski. I said Arlovski has looked great in his last 2 fights, but I feel like Tai is a bit too quick. And even my brother was saying it before, he thinks that the speed difference is what's going to show in this fight, because Tai, even though he's a chubby heavyweight, he's not like a built heavyweight like Arlovski. He's a chubby heavyweight, but he's quick. And I think he's going to find Arlovski's chin in under 2.5 minutes. I think under half a round, he finds his chin and he puts him to sleep.
Yeah, Tai, he's a unique specimen of a human being, because, like you said, he's a chubby heavyweight, but he's so light on his feet and he's very flamboyant in his striking. And
Tai's going to beat Arlovski, then he's going to beat Derek Lewis, then he'll probably fight for a title.
You never know. He might even just get a title shot after beating Arlovski. With the heavyweight division, it's just like, who knows what can happen with these guys, right?
That all depends on what happens with Stipe and DC, I guess.
Exactly. And then you got Francis Ngannou out there. I think he's fighting Derek Lewis, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's going to be a crazy fight. I think it all depends on if Derek Lewis beats Francis Ngannou. If he beats Francis Ngannou, I think that they would put him up against Tai, or he gets a title shot.
Yeah. I like Derek Lewis, but I don't really want to see him fight for a title. I'm not that interested in him. Yeah.
What about Colby Covington? Are you a fan of him?
Nah.
You don't like his style?
I think he's a douchebag. Like, I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to sell some things, but there's a certain limit to your arrogance, and as well, like, a lot of the Brazilians call him out in person, and then he shuts his mouth. I was there when he got that boomerang thrown at him. He's a bitch. He did not want none of it to him. We were laughing our ass. He did not want nothing until he pulled out his phone, and then he started talking shit, walking backwards. Colby's a bitch.
Yeah, but hey, he's fighting for the title though.
But that's the thing. If you don't get yourself involved in shit like that, and like trouble like that comes your way, fair enough. But like, he's asking for trouble, and then when it comes, he backs away like a bitch. So I got no respect for that man. Fabricio should have front kicked him to the face like he did Travis Brown.
Yeah, he talks. He knows how to like just talk shit, and like when bad things happen to people, he'll stab at you. With a lot of fucking bad karma.
He's just waiting for someone to say something bad, and he jumps on it every time. He's just like a little rat.
All right, so you think RDA is gonna punish him?
RDA is gonna put the pace on him and fuck him up.
All right, man. Well,
I reckon RDA TKO round 2.
Round 2? Yeah, I think he's gonna punish him too.
Him against Law, if he can keep that pace against Colby, then he'll be fine.
Yeah, but RDA, if he wins, he makes history, which is pretty crazy. Double division champ. But does it really count when you're the interim champ?
It doesn't count if you're an interim champ. Oh, it does, but it doesn't.
I agree with you that it doesn't count. Like interim champ, it doesn't count.
Like the top. If you're the 2-time thing, you're the undisputed champ. in my opinion. An interim title is a hold me title. You're not the real champ until you got that actual belt.
For sure. I agree, man. Like, he needs to go. If he wins this, he needs to go beat Woodley. If he beats Woodley, then he's going to be in the history books, you know, like anybody else. Well,
The welterweight.
Man, like next episode, we got 4 fights. So we got a lot of talk to next time. So, yeah, man, until next time. Later, man.
Thanks, East, bro.